everybody.
Welcome back to our podcast, Casual Conversation
With Gloria
and Eileen.
And today is conversation number 2. So today it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to get into mysterious disappearances. It sounds a little typical.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not. So these disappearances are mostly happening, but they're only in certain areas, and they have things about them that are not your normal,
your typical
disappearance.
Yeah,
like
this isn't like, I don't feel like it's like a regular like story about like some people who disappeared,
like somebody being abducted or
anything that's predictable.
Right. Yeah. It's more of like, it almost is like a mind twister, right?
Yeah.
The things that happen and the stories of people. So
I think that's why we thought it was so cool to get into it, because the fact that it's like really is mysterious.
It's mysterious. Yeah. And it's just unexplained.
Yeah.
The situations that come about are unexplained. So we want to start off by what's happening.
Yeah, what's going on?
So,
well, what's really going on is that there's people who have been missing in national forests around the world, but you know, we're here.
Our closest forest that has the biggest cluster of disappearances in the world is gonna be Yosemite National Forest. And I know that all of us that live in California are familiar with Yosemite. I've never been. I would like to go, but I'm hesitant because this.
What we've heard. But we know that it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And it's like a huge tourist place.
Yes. And so Yosemite also has the biggest number of granite.
Yes.
And it also has bodies of water, and that's gonna be
it's gonna play a role.
It's gonna play a role in what's happening. So people are going missing
under strange circumstances
in these forests. And so they all have similar links. So we are gonna get into those. But okay, so should we get into what's going on, like what makes them individually or separates them?
Separate from any other, missing person reports are kind of that, like, it happens to a lot of people, but they also kind of have the same circumstance, and that's what kind of puts them together. So we have like a list of like common things that are found in all these disappearances. And so
I just want to say this is a passion of mine, and I got into it a long time ago, and so it's just fascinated me ever since. And every time there's something new that's happening, I try to research and investigate what's going on. But yeah, so we're gonna get into it. So the first thing that happens to these people, it's like, let's say everybody that's going to go like to camp or to the forest, like usually they take somebody, right?
Yeah.
Unless you live around there and you just go hiking for the day. So these people, if they do go together, there's going to be a
point of separation.
So that's the first thing that happens. So they get separated. One person gets separated from the group, or they get separated from whomever they're going with. And then once that happens,
that's when it goes down.
That's when stuff hits the fan.
Yeah.
So they just vanish.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we say vanish, they vanish. Like there's no trace of that person existing in that place at all.
They didn't hear the person. They didn't see what happened.
Yes.
It's just
there's nothing left behind.
Yeah.
So the second thing would be a time of disappearance. So this happens mostly in the evening?
Yeah.
Towards like the later hours of the day. So, and that's when it's more common that it happens. And so the third thing would be boulders. So like I said, granite plays a role. Bodies of water play a role.
Yeah. They seem to like those two things.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like it just
and it's kind of weird because Yosemite has
both.
And they have the biggest granite rock in the world, and that's where the most disappearances have happened in the world, in Yosemite. So yeah, that's pretty weird. So after the person disappears, they do have a weather event. So there's
basically the weather changes
and drastically that. And
in a
the
matter
person disappears. Yeah. After a few hours, we have mist, we have heavy mist, we have
or like thunder. I mean, or like, dust storms,
rain,
something that kind of interferes with
the search parties. So, the next thing is usually these people might have a disability or an illness. We don't know why. I mean, it's just, I feel like, there's been children, especially like little children that go missing. And then some of them are found. But we'll get into that later. Yeah. We just kind of want to give you like the rundown of what
all the points
makes it identifies that certain disappearance. The other thing would be canines. So they bring in search parties. Sometimes they'll have a helicopter, like a ranger helicopter flying around, trying to see search and rescue if they see anybody. And they also bring in tracking dogs, canines. Yes. And what happens?
And they can't track the scent.
Track the scent.
They'll like track it for a moment, but then it's gone. And then they kind of like, they'll either just like lay down and, it got nowhere.
So I feel dogs that are trained to,
they
to search. Yeah, they smell the scent. And once they find something, then they sit there and then they kind of indicate to the owner, hey, this is where I'm smelling. But these dogs will follow the trail, follow a scent, and then all of a sudden they just don't know what's going on. Or some dogs don't even want to continue. Yeah. It's almost like they're afraid.
And they'll even be, they've mentioned like cadaver canines who specialize in finding
cadavers, and they can't find anything. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing would be so once the person goes missing, sometimes they find bodies. And they are found in areas that were previously already searched by the search parties, right? Yeah. So search and rescue. Mm-hmm. And so that makes it really strange because it's almost like they were put there after you've already been in that area. It's just weird.
It's weird. And sometimes it'll be like close to where they disappeared. Where they first disappeared.
Or some of them would be pretty far, like children. When they found children, they were so many miles, so much terrain that there was no way that these children could have got there on their own. So, and then some of the children that they do find don't have any scratches, don't have any marks, don't have any
signs of trauma.
Any signs of them walking for hours through rain, through any hard terrain. So it's really weird. So the body's being found. And where you previously searched.
Yeah, and when they don't find bodies, they find just missing clothing.
They do. And sometimes, even when they do find the bodies, like they'll find the clothing, like they won't have their clothes on, and they'll find it like stacked, like near, like folded almost.
Yeah, folded.
And the shoes, like the shoe thing is weird because it's almost like people are always missing shoes, right? And so when they do find the clothing, it's neatly like clean, neatly placed, and with the shoes on top. But there's no indication that these people were murdered. There's no indication that they were hurt in any way, that they were mauled by an animal. Yeah. It's just
nothing logical. Nothing that you can explain right off the bat.
Yeah, and the coroner
reports are, it's usually unknown cause of death.
Unknown cause of death. Yeah. So, and some of them will say, oh, well, it might be hypothermia. But, it's just, still, it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, and so
last thing,
the geographical clusters.
And I think that's interesting. That's the interesting part.
Okay, so where is this happening? It's happening in national forests, like we said. The only place that doesn't so clusters are like areas where it's happening, right?
Yeah.
So the only place that is not common for it to happen is in the middle of the United States.
Yeah, which is really weird because you'll see all these clusters like, you know, on the west side and on the east side, and then there's
no missing, because so there is a map that shows you all these disappearances. So it has the little tallies and then little tabs on there that'll show you where these people are going missing. And so in that map, it's like a whole map of the United States. In the middle, it's clear.
Yeah, which is so weird.
Yeah, that it's happening everywhere else except there. So now we're going to get into how we found out about this and who's the face of...
Who's behind it all.
Yes, and his name is David Paulides. And he is a retired police officer, and he's also...
he's specialized in search and rescue. He's an expert.
He's an expert in search and rescue. And he researches cases of missing people that go missing under highly unusual circumstances. Mm-hmm. That's so hard to say. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what he does. So based on his research, based on everything that he's found and these identifiers of these cases, then he then wrote books. And so he has a few books. I don't know exactly how many books he has. I'm sorry.
I think it's like 4 or 5.
Yeah. And he has a website, and we're gonna link his website. And he also is the founder of the Missing 411. So he has his Missing 411 books, and he's also created 2 documentaries.
Yeah.
2 documentaries of the Missing 411. And so both of those are awesome. We've watched both of them, and
they're really good.
They just freak you out even more.
I highly recommend, though, to watch them because they're really good.
Yeah, and it'll explain a lot better, and you'll get a better feel on what's going on. And then he also participates in the investigations.
And it's interesting because he's done a lot of interviews, and he said that, you know, when he was doing his research and asking for this information from national forests, they would tell him, oh no, he would tell him, can I please have a list of all the missing people that have been missing in these national forests, because I'm trying to do research. And he would get denied, like, no, we don't, that list doesn't exist, but he knows that it exists, you know?
So it's like an act, like a freedom act that they have where you can like if you can request certain, you know, public records on disappearances or closed cases. So Yosemite told them,
yeah, they're like,
if you want a list, it's gonna cost you, and it's gonna cost you $1.4 million. So he said, you know, I can't get that kind of money. So he hasn't gotten the list, but he does, out of what he's known, what he's investigated, his research, he found that is the highest cluster of missing people. As far as maybe, do you think the National Forest knows what's going on?
I'm pretty sure.
You think they're just trying to like cover up?
Because I think he's mentioned that there has been people who have like came to him and told him, hey, we know like lists like that exist, you know, we know they know, but they just don't want to give that information out, you know?
Right. And I think that a lot of it like too is because the forest doesn't want people to stop going, because that's their revenue.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows if they know? Maybe they're trying to find out as well, like, but it's a gray area.
Yeah, because he even said during one of his interviews that he got some of his information through some rangers
park rangers.
Yeah, that they went up to him and they're like, hey, we see what you've been investigating, and we kind of have like stories to add to that. Yeah. So
it's very interesting and very compelling, and I just want to say, like, my heart goes out to all those people that have lost loved ones in the forest. I can't even imagine what, especially like the children, what people would go through. Luckily there has been some children that you know that they find alive and not harmed, these kids have just like the most amazing stories to say of what has happened. And I feel like since they're children, people don't really like believe them as
they feel like it's just their imagination.
Yeah, but I mean, there's like one story, because we're gonna get into stories of some of the people. But like, since we're talking about the kids, one of the kids mentioned to their parents, you know, it was a fuzzy man.
Yeah,
fuzzy, like not hairy.
Yeah,
fuzzy.
Because that's what I thought initially, like
hairy man. No, but he said it was like a fuzzy, like the TV.
Yeah.
So that's weird, right? Like if somebody told me that, I'd be like,
pretty creepy.
Yeah, and so it's just the weirdest. There's another story.
First,
should we start with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So a kid, I think he was older? He was like not too young, but not too old. Maybe like I want to say maybe like 10. And he went missing, and he was in his grandparents. I guess they owned a ranch, a big ranch with like acreage, and he went out and he was playing outside, and then his parents couldn't find him. So it was a few hours, they couldn't find him. They called in the sheriff. The sheriff came out. They started a search party, and they started looking for this kid. So it was already, I want to say like nighttime, already during the night. And his parents were looking for him. His mom was looking for him. But eventually the next day, and then after that, there was a lot of fog.
Oh, yeah.
So there was fog, there was rain. So they were already like, his parents were like, no, we need to continue searching. Like, there's no way we're going to stop. You know, time is of essence, right?
Yeah.
When somebody goes missing. So what happened with him, he, the next morning he was found, and he was found with no clothes. He said his story was that he was there the whole time, that he was in the same place the whole time. He didn't move. He said, Mom, I saw you, but you couldn't see me. Right? So that's just weird.
Yeah.
Like for a kid to say, Mom, I was screaming at you. You were right there and you just couldn't see me, or you wouldn't hear me. So, for a child to say that, that's weird.
Yeah.
But they checked him, everything, and he was perfectly fine. Like he had nothing wrong. He was perfectly healthy. Thankfully, everything was good. So yeah, so that's just a quick little story, but do you want to get into another one?
Yeah, so there's another one. It's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of weird, equally weird. It's about a man named Henry Mccabe, and he was this married man, and one night he decided to go out with his friends for drinks.
Party!
Yeah, and so he went out with his friends, and when he was coming out, one of his friends dropped him off at a gas station. He told them, "Oh, it's fine. I'll just walk home from here, I guess."
Yeah.
And so he got dropped off, and his friend left, and he was walking home, and he called his wife. No, my bad. His wife called him, and he just told her, "Oh, I'll call you back." So what happened was that he called, but it was almost like an accidental dial.
Like after?
Yeah, and then it just went to voicemail because I guess she assumed like, oh, it was just like a accidental dial. So it went to voicemail, and in the voicemail she just heard the weirdest sounds.
Yeah, like, voicemail, like the Henry Mccabe, because he was very, very intelligent man. Yeah. Like he was successful.
Yeah, and
too.
he was young. He was in his early 30s.
Yeah, and so like a night of partying, it just he disappeared. Okay, he's never been found, but that voicemail that was left was insane. Like it was like beyond creepy.
Yeah,
it was. So I'll try to find that too and see if I can link it, but it's mostly him. Like it almost sounds like he's trying to like gasp, like he's almost like, it sounds like he's drowning. Yeah. But then there's like a weird like voice in the background, like it's not even a voice, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's just the weirdest, like creepiest voicemail you can ever hear. And it almost sounds like he's struggling, like he's I don't think he's fighting. It doesn't sound like he's fighting because there's these weird abnormal sounds in the background. Like it sounds like out of this world. Like, I don't know. It's just the creepiest. But yeah, he was never found.
I think they did find him.
He did.
Yeah, in one of the lakes. And it was, the odd thing about it was that he tried to walk home, but where they found him was so far from, you know, where he was initially like dropped off.
Did they find him in water?
Yeah, they found him in a lake. I think it was someone who was kayaking at the time found him. Oh, and it was weird because that distance was like an hour and 15-minute distance
from where he was last seen.
Yeah, and
oh, that's crazy.
And it's weird that it happened in a further lake because there was like a couple bodies of water before he got there. So it was just weird that it was that one, you know what I mean? Instead of like the first one he encountered.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was.
But did they say? I can't remember if they said if it was drowning.
Yeah, I think that was
because he was intoxicated.
Yeah, but they didn't do a report on like toxicology. Like they didn't release that information. But that's kind of what they thought happened. You know, that he drowned.
That he fell and drowned. But see, that doesn't go with the voicemail, because the voicemail sounds like he's like struggling, but not like, why wouldn't you be able to like turn yourself over? I mean, unless he fell somewhere deep where he couldn't swim. It's just, but they usually find them like at the edge of the water, right?
Yeah. And it's weird that your phone would still.
And then there's this other thing too, where they find bodies in water that are face up or something, or face down. They say that your body's supposed to be a certain way. I can't remember exactly if it's supposed to be face down or face up, but the way that they're found is not normal for drowning. Yeah, I guess, right?
Which is weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
And another thing is, two people that are found dead have been missing for a few days, maybe a few weeks. I think there was a case where there was one that was missing for months. Yeah, and they found the body in a body of water. But it hadn't been dead for that long. Yeah. The body.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that's what makes
beyond weird.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like they were just killed, or they just died and they were placed there. Yeah. So, that's another one that's
odd because they've been missing for this amount of time and then they're just like freshly dead. Yeah.
It's like, where have they been the rest of that time? Yeah, no, that's creepy. So we're going to get into another story. This one is in the Missing 411 documentary. It's called Hunted. So, and this one just stood out to me because it was really, really weird. But so it's three men that went hunting. So one of them, I guess during the hike, they had horses. I guess they had a horse that carries all their essential stuff, right? Yeah. So the horse ends up escaping. Like, I guess it just got loose and it took off and with all their stuff. So one of the guys decides, hey, I'm going to go hike up to this, what is it? I guess it's like a place, like a ranger station where they have, essential needs just in case something happens. People can go up there and get stuff or ask for help. I don't know exactly, but something like that. So he starts a trail up there. And then he continues, he goes up there, and then his friends stay in a base camp. So he goes missing. Mm-hmm. So the point of separation, he goes missing on his way up there. I think he had with him, I think he had a bow and arrow, right? Is that what it was? He had like the bow, he had his bow, he had usually people that go hunting with bow and arrows usually carry a gun. He had a tracking beacon. Mm-hmm. And he had a backpack with water and some food. So it was weird because once he disappeared, they never found anything that had to do with his, they did eventually, but at the first time, because his friends eventually said, hey, he's not coming back. It's been already, it was already the next day, the middle of the day, and he still wasn't back. So then they contacted the police. The police started, a search party. They searched for him. They didn't find anything. Eventually, they had a helicopter that went out and started, searching. And they do use these like heat wave, like detectors things. Yeah. So they still couldn't find anything. So what was weird is that during the course of them, looking for this person, they found his boots just on the top of a ridge next to, like, I guess, so it's like a ridge, and then there's a creek on the bottom, like not a creek, but like a big river. And so they just found his boots up there. And so I was like, okay, well, why would, they were thinking, why would he take off his boots if he's walking through this terrain? So they didn't find no body. The next thing, so they continue up the path. And I guess there was a couple that lived in a ranch that was off, like, because I guess if you keep on going that way, you eventually find their house. So that couple said that the husband was riding around, and he found a backpack, and he said that the backpack that he found was like neatly placed against a tree, and he said that next to that backpack he found on top of a rock like a little
water
thermos
jug,
like a thermos water jug, like somebody had been drinking it and placed it there, but still there was no body. Like, it was the guy's stuff, like the hunter. But they still couldn't find him. So, and that was weird. Pretty much like they were just finding trails of his stuff, but not finding a body. And he was never found.
Yeah.
So it was weird.
Yeah. It's just,
to me, it almost seemed like he was just there. But if he saw that house, wouldn't he have gone down there to ask for help? If he was lost or if he needed help, and who would put the backpack there? Why would his, it was just so random and weird. So that one was weird. And I don't know what to make of it.
I know, it's like,
it just keeps you like, what's next? Do they find him?
And it just gets nowhere.
It's like a mind twister, man. Like I said. Yeah. Okay, so that was the one from the documentary. There's a few more in there that are, and then there's this other scene, but I'm not gonna get into that. If you guys want to watch it, The Hunted, Missing 411, The Hunted. Do you want to talk about the predator thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that one was in there too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that one was in the same documentary, actually.
So that one, it scared me because I was like, what? So it's this woman and her husband. I guess they have this big ranch
and acreage too.
Yeah, they have a lot of acreage. So she likes to go out and
she's a bow hunter.
Yeah. So
and her husband is
he's a ocular physicist.
So he's a physicist.
Yeah. So one day she decides to go out there to hunt, and I guess she has this kind of like, it's almost like a little stairway thing where
like that you go up, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's like you go up there and you hunt from on top of a tree, but there's like a little, like a wooden, like you build a little, I don't know, like a little area where she can just overlook things. Yeah, from up top. Yeah. So she was there, and I don't know if it got quiet or something. It did. Everything got quiet. Like insects, everything went quiet in the forest. Yeah, and she said that she remembers kind of seeing something. And at first she thought it was her eyes, so she like blurry. You know when you have something in your eye and it's blurry? Yeah, and that's what she thought it was initially. So but it's not that. But she did wipe her eye. Yeah, she did wipe her eye, and then she realized it was still there. Yeah, it was still there. But this was. So what she saw was right in front of her above the trees. So the same tree line, like just across from her, basically. Yeah. She saw like what she described as like almost like saran wrap. Like see-through material thing. I don't know, just something. She said it was big. It was like just there,
and just moving along the trees, like just like
yeah, like she said that it looked like it reached over to the other tree and just moved.
Yeah.
So that's why we call it the predator, because you know, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, but the creature, it kind of goes invisible.
Yeah.
But you can still see a little bit of like, you know, blurriness to him. So I think.
So I guess what she said was that she tried to take a photo of it.
She had like an old
like
palm tree.
Yeah, those palm trio, like
I can't remember what it's
those
called.
old school phones. So she took a picture of it. And so she took it to her husband, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna have him take a look at this.
Since he's
an ocular physicist,
right?
So he specializes in lenses, basically. You know, human lenses, you know, or like, you know, camera lenses. So she shows it to him.
Yeah.
And he finds it so weird that she literally took a picture of herself.
Like he found a picture in the camera.
Like a selfie, basically. Like first,
it was a selfie, but it was like it was almost like if you just see her hair, like there's something blocking her, and you can just see her hair, and it was weird because that phone does not have a picture. Like it didn't
have the capability to take selfies.
Yeah,
that wasn't even like.
She can take pictures from the back of her phone, but not from the front. And she grabbed her phone and took a picture of whatever was in front of the phone, right?
Yeah.
And so he said that there was pictures before that were you know capable of whatever
a certain pixel size, right?
Yeah.
That phone can you know carry.
And once he got to that picture was of a size that phone has no capability of taking. Like I guess it was like a smaller
like pixel
and
size.
he said his words, or he was saying that there's no way this phone has that type of software to make this type of picture or to take this type of picture. So it was just very odd. But she said that she wasn't afraid. She saw the thing. She wasn't afraid.
Which is weird. Like, how are you not going to be afraid?
And she said that she just randomly, she forgot about it and she just brought it up to her husband, and that's when they looked through the phone. But down the street from that, there was like a high school, and there was like a band playing, and some of the the kids from the band said that they saw like an orb coming from that tree line to crossing, you know, the football field, and then it disappears. So we don't know if that has a connection. I mean, it was just odd that those people at the exact same time saw something odd.
It's just like, I don't know how she didn't get scared. Like, that is so scary. I don't know what I would do if I saw something like that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's weird. So we're going to get into a personal account that one of our family members had at Yosemite. So our cousin, we're not going to say his name because of what?
I don't know, privacy reasons.
I don't know, because I don't know if he wants us to. But I mean, it's not a big deal. So he's a hunter. He went hunting with one of his good friends to Yosemite, and they didn't, you know, during the course of the day, they got there, they set up camp, and they went out hunting, didn't get nothing, so they came back. So they were camping for the night. So my cousin was spending the night in his tent, and his friend was staying in his car, right?
Yeah.
I guess he had like a little camper thing. So his friend was staying in the camper, and so he said that. So the account happened. His friend was the one that saw everything. Yeah. So he said that he was in his car. He was asleep. And then it was at night, I guess, like late night.
Yeah, maybe, I would say late night.
Maybe 2, 3. I want to say 2.
It was
2, 3 in the morning. He said that it was like late at night. So he said that he heard something outside, and it woke him up. So he said, "Oh, it's probably, you know, waking up. My cousin waking up." And so he said he looked up. And he said that he saw him like getting out of his tent and walking to the forest. And so he said, I guess he's like, oh, he's probably gonna go, handle his needs. So he said he just kind of laid back down, and then he couldn't go to sleep for a reason, some reason, I don't know. He couldn't go to sleep. So he said that he kept looking up and he wouldn't come back. Like he was waiting for him to come back, right? And he wouldn't come back. So he says he got out of the camper. He's like, well, I'm going to go see if he can hear me or if he's cool. And so I guess he got out, and then he started screaming for him, and he wouldn't hear anything, like, so he started like kind of screaming louder. And then he said he heard somebody say, hey, what's up, man? Why are you screaming? And it was coming from inside the tent. And so he was kind of like, what the heck's happening? Like you just and then so my cousin unzipped the tent, and he's like, dude, why are you out there? Like, why are you screaming? And he's like, I just saw you walk out of the tent to go to the bathroom. And he's like, I've been in this tent all night. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I would not go out there by myself. So it was just, he said that at that moment, they were both kind of like looking at each other. And all of a sudden, my cousin's tent started shaking. Like somebody grabbed it and was shaking it. And so he said that they got up. My cousin got out of the tent. They got out. They got into the truck and took off.
He just threw the tent in the back.
The tent was still intact. But they threw stuff over it. I don't know. I didn't fly away. But they put everything in there and they took off that same night. It was, and we just wanted to tell this story because this phenomenon is, I feel like there's something paranormal about it. Yeah. I feel like if nobody can be or do, let's say the perfect murder or murder people and there not be evidence.
There's just no way somebody could be that sly
people
to do stuff like that.
And then these people, like we said, they don't find the people that do go missing. They don't find any of the belongings, like except for that hiker. He was leaving trails, but usually they disappear with everything they had on them. And it's weird, like the way that
and I just, remembering that, what we know now about these disappearances, and then connecting that to what happened to my cousin, it's weird, and stuff happens here.
And we were thinking, what if his friend would have gone after him? Maybe it was like a
maybe
lure.
That was his point of separation.
Like they were luring him to go, or maybe, it's just, we don't know what could have happened, who could have been there. They didn't see, there was no other campers. They were in the middle of nowhere. There was, it was just weird. And then these men are experienced hunters that are not going to be afraid of, raccoons or animals in the forest. Like they're geared up. They have guns. They have weapons. They're prepared. I mean, I know everybody gets scared, but I was more amazed of the man being scared because he's done it for years. And so,
and he's never seen anything like that.
Yeah, he said that he's never experienced anything like that. And so he said he never went hunting back there again. So, but my cousin's fine. He's good. And thankfully nothing happened, but it's just very, very mind-boggling. All this is very mind-boggling. And it gets like to the little details. It gets weird. It's just, you don't know what's going on.
Like I feel like you can't figure it out. You'll try.
And like we said, so we want to get it. So if it was animals, there would be blood. There would be screams. If it was somebody taking somebody, the same thing. There would be evidence. They would drop things. They would scream, but they don't hear anything.
There would be tracks.
There would. Dogs would be able to track them. So it's just odd. So we want to get into some of the things that people can do to protect themselves if you do decide to go to the forest. So Eileen, do you want to share some?
I think the most important thing, a tracker beacon.
Right? So a tracker beacon is like a GPS system that
connects to the satellite.
And they can track where you're at.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the most important thing. Like if I were going out into the forest, I would definitely want a tracker beacon.
And a rope.
I would want each other.
A gun, your cell phone. Tell somebody where you're going, people.
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't stress that enough. even if you go, man, like I tell my family where I'm going, even if I'm going to the corner store. Okay, like y'all need to tell everybody where you're going.
You just never know. You never know.
Yes, and have a travel companion.
Yeah, like
and don't separate.
Yeah, you know, if you just don't be alone. Yeah, just take someone.
Like I told her, if we're gonna go to Yosemite, you best believe we're gonna carry a rope and tie all of us in knots.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to get into what are some of our theories.
Yeah, theories.
Let me just share this one story. So there's a quick story. Two younger men were jogging through the forest, right?
Oh yeah,
remember that one? Trip. So they were jogging through the forest, and they usually do that all the time. I think they were track. They were in track.
Oh, okay.
And so perfect conditions, like healthy young men. And so they were running, and he said one of the other guys, he said he was running, that he's like, I left my friend like maybe a few feet behind me, turned around, he was gone, like did not hear a thing, did not hear no struggle, did not hear nothing. And he said it was almost as if he got lift up, like he was just snatched from air, like thin air.
Is weird because, okay, you can say, oh, he ran off. You would have heard him run off.
Yeah, he struggled. He fought. Some animal took him. He would have screamed. He would have something.
He would have turned around in time to see it happen. You know what I mean? See him run off. See an animal take him. You know?
I don't know what it was, but
he didn't.
Yeah.
So that was weird, and that's when we're like, we need to tie each other up if we're gonna go somewhere. You know?
So let's get into what we think, because I don't want it to be too long. Sorry.
Okay.
So what do you think it might be? What are some of your...
I really think it's dimensions. That's the only like possible explanation.
Yeah, because some of our other theories were maybe alien abductions, maybe a Bigfoot, a wormhole. But I'm going to have to agree with Eileen, and I'm going to think I'm more into the multidimensional.
Yeah.
It's
gotta be because the way it happens just so quick, and
it's almost like a veil opens up, and you fall in the veil.
You fall into that portal,
but how does the veil spit you back out and throw you into the water?
I don't know. I don't know, man. That's weird. So that's why I'm thinking,
unless there's a creature behind it.
I'm thinking that maybe it's time related. Like there's something. Time is definitely different in that dimension for sure, and that's what makes it different from like what we're living in now, like because our time. It
sounds like definitely it could be a dimension, because like, you know, dimensions, it's like portals. Like a portal opens, you fall into it, and you don't come out, or if you do come out, they come out dead.
Yeah, but they're freshly, you know what I mean? Like it just happened
because time has passed.
Yeah, but it's different from our time. You know what I mean? Time here. So that's why I feel like it's a dimension.
Yeah.
And the way that the lady described, like that little blurry thing that she would see.
Maybe that they was trying to take her, but aliens is a possibility too, because we don't know what type of technology they have. We don't know what ships they have. We don't know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a possibility. The Bigfoot, I'm not so sure, because I feel like the Bigfoot has left evidence, has left like footprints in the past.
Yeah.
There's been video of Bigfoot. There has been like hair, right?
Yeah, or you see them, like just,
there's been accounts of people seeing them. So I think that it might be more dimensional or alien.
Yeah, I feel like, either or.
But I don't know. I mean, it's up for debate.
Yeah,
right?
debating. Yeah.
So let us know what you guys think. What you guys think might be going on. It's just really weird. I hope we tried to explain it as best as we could. But if you do really want to like learn more about it, you can go on to Dave Polite. He also has a YouTube now, and I think it's Can Am Missing on YouTube, and his website is canammissing.com. And so you can purchase his books there, and you can also purchase, I think, the documentaries.
Yeah.
And he explains it a lot more better than we could ever explain it, because he's an expert.
Yeah, there's interesting stories in there.
There's definitely interesting stories. So I hope you guys like this video. Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, if you know, like, I mean, if you think you know, like,
or if you've had any experiences,
that'd be interesting.
We definitely want to know.
Yeah.
So just share. Please leave comments, and please subscribe and like our video. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.